Hey everybody, Johnny Be Good here. We are somewhere around Chambers, Apache, Arizona. Alright, the local time here is 4:33. Today, once again, it is Wednesday, June 24th. There's a beautiful Can-Am right there, right? June 24, 2015, the temperature is at 80 degrees. We are down to 571 miles to Industry, California. I tried filming over there in Gallup, New Mexico, but it didn't turn out. In fact, I accidentally deleted it. The Johnny Be Good, the Struckian Johnny Be Good brain, that is. Anyway, how many of you out there watch Alex Jones? I occasionally do watch him. Sometimes it's pretty hard to believe what he says, but so sure makes it sound credible. Recently, I think it was yesterday, that I saw he had an emergency report he did. That something is really big coming. It's going to be a total collapse somewhere in October, I think it was. Supposedly the rich and the rich people, and I can't remember the name of it. A lot of people are leaving the United States, going to New Zealand and some other countries. And, you know, there's a possibility that could happen. Then there's a possibility they won't happen. But the thing that I want to really talk about was, if it did happen, and we all know it's going to happen. I mean, it's just martial law is going to happen in the United States. It's not a matter of, you know, will it or will not. It will, just a matter of when. There is an end to this world. There is an end to this civilization. Every civilization dies. I mean, the only civilization that ever survived is, you know, this Israel. All the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, all the civilizations before, even the great Roman Empire is gone. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. If it does happen, man, I have no resource. I mean, except for a few cans of beans and maybe a half sack of rice at home. That's about the only stock we have at home. You know, I know there are a lot of preppers out there. They made bunkers, and they got stockpiles of gold and silvers and money and guns and batteries and water, food. Well, unfortunately, I don't have that kind of resource. And my fear is, if it did happen, chances are I'll be out here on the road, right? Leaving the girls to fend for themselves back home. So how does one prepare for such things? A couple of things that crossed my mind was, well, I better start selling some of my stuff. Get ready. You know, start hoarding things. Prepare for it. Then you start thinking, well, what if it doesn't happen? And you end up selling all your stuff dirt cheap, and it didn't happen. Suppose you got all the, you got the resource as much as you could possibly muster. Couple of months of supplies down in your basement. Suppose it did happen. Then what? At the end of it all, chances are your supplies is not going to be enough. Or if you did have enough, somebody out there be willing to die and get it off from you, kill you for it. And if you did run out of supplies, it all just comes to an end the same exact way. The only difference is the guy that prepared will last longer than the guy that did not. Right? Prolonging the inevitability. So I don't know. I suppose at this point, I got nothing, there's nothing I can do about it. Except pray that God will be gracious to provide the means and the way, whatever ways that is, to provide for my family. And yes, I've been having this feeling of, it's been a while that I've been having this feeling that something big is about to happen. I've been feeling that for a long time. I think a lot of people do. What do you call it? The sixth sense? I don't know. It also amazes me that these Charleston, South Carolina, everybody's having a debate to whether to take the Confederate flag down, raising it up or leaving it there, or Walmart stopped selling flags. And these are just one giant distraction. I mean, we got immediate problems right now than to debate, waste time and money whether to take the flag down or not. Our government says Al-Qaeda has been on the run, they no longer exist, and yet they're back in action. Our government does not have any plan of debating or defeating ISIS. Christians are being slaughtered everywhere. And yet here we are debating whether to take down the flag or not, a piece of cloth. Our Constitution is always intact. And for the most part, the world just don't care anymore. The world is too busy to care. Oh, I'm not pointing fingers out there. I am as guilty of that as anyone else. You know, it wasn't that long ago where I was gripped in fear of the possibility of martial law and total, economic collapse. And I've been through this before, as far as feeling the fear anyway. I was so gripped by it. I wanted to go home. I wanted to quit my job and go home so I could protect my family. And I realized I was listening to the wrong voice. I was listening to the voice of chaos instead of the voice of the Lord. And I confessed that sin. And you know, a great calm came over me. I actually need to pray that prayer again. Have you ever thought about this, that God does not react to people's reaction? He doesn't wait for history to happen. He controls and he makes history. He's the real maker and shaker. The movers and shakers. Remember, folks, God does not owe anyone anything. Nada, zilts. He doesn't owe the wicked, the unreborn. He doesn't even owe the Christians to whom he has adopted in his kingdom. The only reason why God keeps his promise and fulfills his promise is because that is his nature. He cannot lie. He cannot change his mind. If you're perfect, there is nothing to change your mind about, right? As I said, he doesn't owe anyone anything, but he does keeps his promise to those who he made a covenant with, to those who have confessed his Son to be their Lord and Savior. You know, time to time I have to remind myself, even the evilest of evil people in history, they can only do and they can only accomplish God's plan. Sometimes God raises evil people as a judgment of nations, judgment to somebody else, to accomplish his, to do his will. Not that God is evil or he can do evil. Let's put it this way. The best that Satan can do, even to the evilest of evil that he could muster in his puny mind, he can only do the will of God. God is a powerful, all-knowing, sovereign God. He can do whatever he wants with his people. I know sometimes it's hard to swallow that, but it is what it is. What would it be like if another depression came to this country again? I would imagine that people of large cities like New York, Chicago, LA, they would have the hardest time. And I think that people from the remotest part of the world, it would probably be the least impacted, right? Let's run to the hills. As the Apostle John said, even so today, Lord, come. Come today, Lord. Put an end to evil. Put an end to the insults to your glory. Take your rightful place and be crowned king. After all, Lord, you are worthy. By the way, how many of you out there listen to David Jeremiah? I like him. He's pretty cool. He's pretty accurate. He's got watch him on YouTube. I think it's something to do with the Antichrist. Can't remember what the name of the video is, but man, that was one good video. He says, don't worry about who the Antichrist is. Just keep your eye on Jesus Christ. That way you'll never have to worry about who the Antichrist is. Some people are spending way too much time trying to figure out who the Antichrist is. They spend a lot more time trying to figure out who and where the Antichrist is rather than they seek Jesus Christ. And that is a big blunder, isn't it? Here's another topic. You notice that ever since YouTube came out, showing all these videos of supposedly police brutality. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are really, really bad cops out there that are just video of cops, you know, mistreating people. There's that. But here's the thing I'm trying to get at. It seems to me that ever since the more people watch this video, the more the media portrays it on the media all the time, 24/7. I think the general public is beginning to lose respect, and they're beginning to lose their healthy fear of police officers. That, I don't know, it seems like people don't want to obey the police anymore. People don't have the healthy, you know, fear of obeying the police. It seems like the population does not have the respect anymore, and I think it's just going to get worse. Especially the young generations now. I saw this one video that I'm sure many of you have seen this, where this young teenager was told by the police to not skateboard in a mall or in a parking lot. And I think it was a teenager's response as, dude, something. He called the cop dude. And the cop kind of lost it. I mean, he lost his cool. But he did have a good point, saying, I'm not a dude, I'm officer so-and-so. I think people are losing, as I said, their respect and the, what is the word I'm looking for? The reverence of authority. And on the flip side of that too, I think that it's beginning to be, you know, the cops against people, people against cops. You know, it's a good thing that YouTube came out and exposed some of these, you know, bad apples out there. But at the same time, I think it's, the overall impact is a lot more destructive than the good comes out of it. I think we're in Winslow, is it? No, Holbrook. This is Holbrook, Arizona. Man, I was hoping I could make it all the way to Kingman, Arizona, but nope. I'm gonna be like 35 minutes short of making it to Kingman. Right now we are 541 miles to Industry, California. Roughly 8 hours and 47 minutes. We only have 3 hours and 10 minutes available to drive. Then we gotta take a 10-hour break. By the way, the point I was trying to make about the evil people and the tyrant people, and I'm not gonna name who or what, but I think there are certain people on our government that is possibly put in office by God to be a judgment to our nation. Have you ever thought about this? The country it is what it is, not because of the government. It is what it is because of the people. Although there are people in the government that wants to destroy it. Wants to undermine the Constitution. That is clearly evident. But the greatest responsibility to this country is the people. For the most part, a lot of us know what's going on, and yet we are lukewarm to do anything about it. Here's an analogy for you. Who do you blame more? The drug dealers, the drug suppliers, or the people? There are drugs in this country because people want it. If people want it, people demand it, somebody out there will supply it. Remember, every time we point a finger at somebody, look at our hand, look at your hand. When you point a finger at somebody, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. Unless you want to point all 5 fingers at somebody. Welcome to Joseph City. Geronimo. I don't know why people call it Geronimo. I think it's really pronounced Geronimo, right? A G sounds like an H. Geronimo. Well, that's all I got with all the blah 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 that Johnny B. Good could muster. Once again, thank you for watching and have a good and godly day, everyone. Peace. And that's a wrap.